Let's do this. Hey guys, this is Rosa Kelly. Welcome back to my channel. I am super excited to be back with a bookish video because today we're going to talk about the books that I want to read on the fall. So hi guys, I am just so excited. Today I have a lot of books that I want to talk about, and fall is probably my favorite season to just sit down, cozy up, and do tons of reading. So I have been reading a lot. I just haven't been kind of setting up a TBR. I have been such a mood reader. I've been just like picking everything from everywhere and just being all over the place, but really enjoying a lot of like scary books and historical fiction. But today it's going to be all about the fall. This is the season to get all those witchy books out, all those cozy mysteries, maybe a little bit of horror and the romantic. I love reading romantic books that have a little bit of like a mystery to them, and so those are the books that we have selected today. So first we're gonna start with the witchy books. Well, the first book on my witchy book list is going to be Alice Hoffman's Magic Lessons. It's book one of the Practical Magic series, and I am just super excited to finally read this series. Of course, I love the movie Practical Magic, and I do want to read these books in kind of chronological order. So there's two different ways that you can read these books. One is the way that they basically came out, which I think the first book on that is Practical Magic. But I kind of want to start with the chronological order. So the first one on the chronological order for this series is Magic Lessons. And I also heard this one is really good, and it has a lot of good commentary about love and also about lost. And so then I really want to read The Invisible Hour. This is also by Alice Hoffman, but this is not part of the Practical Magic series. I think this is a standalone, and it just sounds so beautiful. It just has such a beautiful cozy look to it, perfect for the fall, so definitely going into my list. Next book that I have on my witchy list is The Nature of Witches, and this is by Rachel Griffin. So this is a YA book about kind of love and also loss, but it has a lot of beautiful like life messages, and I'm just excited. I don't really know much about what this book is about, but I had this on my TBR since last year, and I definitely want to read it. The next witchy book on my list is going to be The Discovery of Witches, which is book one on the All Souls trilogy, and these are by Deborah Harkness, and so I'm just super excited. Of course I want to read all three of them, but I'm going to mainly be reading this first one. I was trying to get it out, but I'm just so tied in there, but anyway, so the first one is called A Discovery of Witches. Then we have The Shadow of Night, and then The Book of Life. So if I can find the audiobook, I'm gonna try to do the whole trilogy. If not, I'm just gonna read the first one here. I heard this book has all the cozy fall vibes that we all like, so I am super excited for this one. So then I have some fun fall kind of romantic books, and the first one is My Roommate is a Vampire. Look how cute is this cover. This book is by Jenna Levine. So I don't know anything about this book, but it just sounds so good, and it just looks so beautiful. Look at this cover again. So all I know about this book is that there are roommates, one's a vampire, and they might fall in love. I don't know. Next book that I want to add to my list is The Dead Romantics. This book is by Ashley Poston. On this book we are following Florence, and she is kind of coming out of a relationship and like a really bad breakup, and she no longer believes in love, but she is a ghost writer, and then she goes to, I guess, the cemetery one day, and she meets this ghost, and she finds that love isn't dead after all. She falls in love with the ghost. That sounds so like cozy for, again, for this time of the year, and I'm just super excited to get going with this book. And then another romance book that I want to read is Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. This book just sounds so fun. Again, a really beautiful cover. It just sounds like a good time, you know? So I have no idea what this is about other than a witch fake dating demon. And I do have two books that I want to mention. These books I actually already read last year, but if you're looking for a really like fun, romantic, Halloweeny type of book, these are the perfect books for you to read. So this is Sally Thorne, Angelica's Frankenstein Makes Her Match. I read this book last year, and this is like my favorite book ever, like the best romance that I have read, no matter what time, because on this book we're following Frankenstein's sister, and she is having a hard time finding a boyfriend, so she decides to follow her brother's examples and make her own boyfriend. So she kind of goes to the cemetery, and she finds a corpse and decides that he's good looking enough, and she decides to kind of put him back together and make her own boyfriend. When the boyfriend comes back to life, he's kind of looking into what his life used to be, so she definitely wasn't expecting that, and so now she's kind of helping him figure out what his past life was. And it's just so romantic because you're kind of, I know it's funny because of she's creating her corpse and it has a lot of creepy elements to it, but also the love, the description, and just kind of letting go of the person that you love for their own like benefit. It was just so beautiful. So definitely read this book. And then if you're looking for a really cozy found family type of book, I highly recommend The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. So again, I already read this book, but I might give it a reread because it was just so beautiful. So on this book, we are following this witch, and she's kind of asked to go to this house. It's kind of like a witch school to kind of teach young witches how to use their magic. And she goes there, she meets the librarian that works on this school, and they fall in love, and they also find new family and just a new sense of being all together. And it was just really cozy, really beautiful, and I just love this so much. Okay, so now we're gonna move into some cozy mystery books. Fall, again, is the perfect time to read some cozy mysteries, and I'm just so in the mood for these books. The first one that I'm gonna talk about is actually Agatha Christie. I don't have the physical book with me just yet because I just ordered it, but this is one that I am going to definitely be reading. This is Halloween Party. I'm gonna put the image here. And so I don't know much about this book. I have been making my way into Agatha Christie's books, and of course I love them. This is gonna be, I think, my fourth Agatha Christie book that I'm going to read, and I really want to read this one because this is the one that the movie A Haunting in Venice, I think it's the name. It's a movie that is coming up, so it's based on this book, and I just can't wait to read it. Also, I'm in a book club with my friends, and I think this is gonna be the book that we're gonna be reading for the month of October, so it will be super fun. Then the next books that I have here, I just picked them because the covers scream fall and Halloween. I don't know, they just look so good. So the first one here is A Potion to Die For. On this book, we're following the owner of the little shop of potions, and of course there is a murder mystery that is happening on this little town. And just look at the cover. How cute is this? I just love the little kitty and the book and the potions, like say no more. I had to mention that this book is by Heather Blake. Then I have here Catch Me If You Can by Ellie Alexander, and again I'm picking this book because of the cover. So on this book we are following a baker. Her name is Jules, and she has been baking a lot of like items for trick-or-treats and cookies and all of that. So it just sounds so cozy. And of course there is the Oregon Shakespeare festival, and there's gonna be a murder, and she's probably gonna have to help figure out what happened. So it just sounds so good. And then I also have here Dog Days of Murder, and this is by Addison Moore and Bellamy Bloom. I mean, look at this, how cute is this? This book we're following Busy Baker, and she has the ability to read not only people's minds but also animals. And she runs this inn. It's called the Country Cottage Inn, and there is a seminar on how to catch the perfect man. But there's a killer on the loose. So I don't know if that seminar name is just so funny, because how to catch or how to kill the perfect man, I don't know, it just sounds so cute and so cozy, and I'm just intrigued that she can read animals' minds, because you know how many secrets our animals might hold. So I'm just so excited about this book. Another cozy mystery going on my list is A Most Agreeable Murder, and this is by Julia Seals. The cover is just so pretty, and it has a lot of like Regency vibes. In this book we are following Beatrice, and she is not like the true definition of a proper lady. She always wants to do things her own way, and so one day they go to a ball and there is someone that gets murdered, and she takes on the role of detective to figure out what happened on this ball. And I believe all the guests get trapped on this location as well. So I am just so super excited for this book also. And the last cozy mystery on my list is going to be Pride and Premeditation, and this is a Jane Austen murder mystery by Tirsa Price. And I just picked up this book because it has a lot to do with Jane Austen, which I just love. So I'm super excited to get to this murder mystery book. And look at the cover, oh my goodness. So now I also want to read a couple of thrillers this season as well, mainly because I have to read these two new releases. One is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. She's one of my favorite thriller authors, and I definitely have to read this book. I heard amazing reviews about it. Usually for thrillers, I don't like reading the premises because I do feel like they always kind of have something that I might not see it like 50 pages into the book most of the time. So I just like going into my thrillers not knowing, and especially if it's an author that I absolutely love already. Another new release that I really need to read is The Whispers by Ashley Adrin. So she's the same author as The Push, which I just loved so much last year. It was so different. It really had me thinking a lot, and this is gonna be hopefully not different. So I'm super excited about this book as well. So on this book we are following a mother who, I think her child goes missing, and we don't know what happens, but there is something that she keeps hearing, that it gets whispered to her, and that's all I know, and I'm just so excited. So next on my list are going to be some more scary books for sure. So first I have some Stephen King. So I really want to read Pet Cemetery. I actually already started reading this book, but I kind of stopped for a little bit. So I'm definitely gonna get back to this, and I'm just super excited because I heard this book is pretty scary, and anything that has to do with animals creeps me out a little bit. Hopefully it's not super scary, because if it's very graphic, I might have to stop this book. I'm also going to be reading The Shining by Stephen King. I just recently checked out the audiobook from my library, so I'm gonna be reading that. I think I might order the book because I actually like pairing the audiobook with the book when I want to sit down and just do some actual reading. I love doing that. So that's gonna be one definitely on my list this month. And then I recently picked up the newest Stephen King, which is Holly, and I love the cover, by the way. Oh my goodness, this has to be the best Stephen King's cover in my opinion. I just love the house, I love the colors, and I love the font, everything about it. So I had to pick it up, and I actually already started this book. This is going to be, well, this was a little bit of my night read, but yeah, it's pretty creepy. I mean, I really like it. I like how Stephen King writes. Of course, he doesn't go straight into the creepy, but he has a way of building the world around you and just making you feel like you are there. This is book number 3 on the Holly series. So Holly is the detective that was on The Outsider. So if you haven't read The Outsider, maybe you should read The Outsider first. And then we also have If It Bleeds, which has a little bit of The Outsider on as well. So this book is counted as book 3 of the series. I know you can read them as standalone, but if you haven't read The Outsider, I highly suggest that you read that one first. And also there's a new, or I don't know how new it is, but I recently watched The Outsider on HBO and it's so good. So you have to watch the series after you read the book. Another book going on my list is House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson. So I just love the Victorian Gothic vibes of this book. So on this book, we're following Marion, and she is a blood maid. We're following this altar society where people actually drink blood, like the high society lives off of blood. And so they hire these blood maids to work for them, but basically to just provide their blood. There might be some really good benefits to this for them, but it just sounds so disturbing. So I am intrigued about this book, and I think this is gonna have some really good commentary about social class and money and all of that. Then we have Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. Isabel Cañas was the same writer as The Hacienda, which I absolutely loved last year. So if you haven't read The Hacienda, I highly recommend that you do so. I don't know much about this book other than we're following vampires, and it's also kind of like a Mexican, I want to say 1920s timeline, and I'm just here for the vibes. And then the last book on this list is going to be Sign Here by Claudia Laux. So this book is hilarious. I already actually started reading this book and I love it. So on this book, we are following Piotr, and he works in hell. Like literally, he works in hell. I guess it's in the deals department on the 5th floor of hell. And so his job is to recruit as many souls as he possibly can get, and especially if they're like really important people. And so he recruits these souls while they're still alive. So he tries to make all kinds of deals with these people to be able to sign their way into hell. I don't know, but it is so funny. It almost feels like you're watching an episode of The Office when you are reading this book. So I have been really enjoying it. And so yeah, another one that I think is gonna be amazing, and I just can't wait to see how it all unravels. And so there we go. So those are all the books that I want to add to my fall TBR. I'm sure I'm not gonna be able to read all of these books. Let me know which books you guys have on your list. I am super excited to set up my TBR card and love having kind of like a sense of direction of what to read next, and I'm just super excited for all of these. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you are doing well, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.